Hello, everyone. This is Renee Piane and my handsome co-host, Clayton Norcross. I think you look very nice. I can't believe we did not plan looking matchy-matchy, but we matched today.
Electric blue.
You're
so Las Vegas.
Well, I did go shopping because I love to wear new things and I love to take people shopping so that they look good to date. And we're getting back into, last week we were talking about dating, online dating at the end of our show. And we really never got into like, how's it happening during this crazy time of Corona?
Yeah, what is a safe date?
Yeah, a safe date. And, people, and I'm married, so I don't have to date, but people are calling me. They're like, how do you get out there and know if you have sparks with people? And you've casually dated a couple lunch, and don't you know right away? Let's get into the topic.
Yeah, I think, usually you use the word a scan, you kind of, I don't think there's any substitute for the in-person meeting. And I usually like to do a video call before I even get that far, because a lot of people, frankly, are misrepresenting themselves. I've had one woman who's using a 10-year-old picture.
Yeah, happens.
Or they show up and they weigh 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, girlfriend, it's not the same thing, even though, you're very comfortable with a few pounds. I'm the kind of a guy, I'm very athletic. I like my woman to be athletic.
Yeah.
And, so it really pays to be clear and to give it a chance to see firsthand what the pheromones are doing, and just kind of swing the bat. And I think it's time for you to talk about how COVID is really making a lot of the advice that you have in Get Real About Love. It's a perfect chance to practice it, because you can't just jump into things and be safe at the same time.
And I also have a whole chapter on sex in my book, because people ask me about it all the time. And now it's even more difficult because and I'm looking for the exact chapter here. Here we go. It's really important for people to discuss it, but let's go back a step. Right now, people are doing virtual speed datings. I'm going to be doing them very soon. I've been talking about, they had some technical problems with their platform because so many people wanted to do the speed dating that it busted the system. Just sort of like what's happening with Zoom. Some people are having trouble with Facebook and Zoom because so many of us right now we're virtually connecting. And that's why we're so happy that we can do this. But you should be doing this on dates before you date, because now we could be flirting with each other this whole time. Like, so tell me, is this where you live? And you could show people where you live. You could talk about your family. You could use all the questions that I talked about on our last show from my book to ask people about their interests. And everybody has different questions.
Lots of intimacy you can practice without physical contact. Yeah.
So do you think that you could know if you have a sparkle with somebody through a video yourself?
Oh, yeah. I've occasionally found someone that I felt, physically attractive.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to the equation for me now. I know that can be very enticing, but sexuality has taken a back seat, in my brain, to say nothing of COVID. But I don't want to get all hooked up in the oxytocin until I really find out that I've got an open field with someone, and that the feeling, to say nothing else, is mutual.
Well, and besides that,
pardon?
the COVID, people are scared to get it, and you don't have any idea where somebody has been. So I have a lot of clients that are dating, though. They're still dating. They're dating, distance dating. They go for walks, hikes. They meet in parks. They're usually outside dates where they can sit, there's tables. I went on a business date, I guess you could say, with my friend in Vegas, and he came to see me, and we went to a restaurant. We sat outside, and he sat all the way at one side, and we were like yelling at each other, but we got to see each other for a business thing that we're doing. Wow. And it was great. I know you're going out and meeting people at the beach or going for coffee or a walk. What do? You do walks? Or
walks are a really nice way to just kind of get outside. I love the ocean, and walking by the ocean and just, asking 3 or 4 of your questions that I have in my brain to kind of get a gauge of who is this person. And, there may be physical attraction there may not be, but it's great practice to really find out if I'm resonating on an intuitive level with this person's energy, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
has become much more pivotal to me.
The energy of the first date, you can feel it. Even at least I work with a lot of my clients. I do consultations, right? So I tell people, you got to call me first to see if you like my style, because I'm Italian, I'm very direct. Like with you, you know, sometimes you'll call and I'll be direct. And I'm sorry if I interrupt you sometimes. I just get excited. I get excited. So the thing is that when you're like this, you can really see, you can kind of even see how a person lives. You can tell, you know, how they dress even before you go to meet them. So we are going to be doing virtual rapid dating coming up. They fixed the platform, so you'll be hearing about it, or you can go on our social media and keep up with it because it's all there. But the thing is, there's sort of a protocol, I think, right now, is be honest about who you are, because people are doing the virtual thing. And whenever somebody says, well, I say, I'd like to meet you virtually, and they say, no, it isn't, as a client, that's fine. But if I was single, I would say, well, then why are you scared? Does your picture not look like you? Or,
yeah, it's a red flag.
What's wrong, But sometimes people do use bad lighting. Like I do Zoom calls all week, and they have lighting. Like, Clayton, you look better without your glasses because it was glaring, right? And if I have my light, if I look up, you can see my lights, So people need to be in the light of sun when you do virtual dating. So it's almost like when you take pictures and the sun's behind you, you're all dark. So when you're in a room where there's light behind you, you look dark, right? So this is TV work. Like when you're on TV, you have to be lit right, or you look like an old man, if you have all this light from behind you, you can't see your features, your teeth, your eyes. So I always tell people, make sure you have your 3 of your top dating wardrobe, like what you would wear on a date, on a virtual date. Don't look like a slob. And that's why when we get together, I go upstairs and change. Sometimes, oh my God, we're wearing the same colors, but the color, you should wear colors like, Clayton, this is one of your colors. Gray, this color, navy, this color, white. So everybody has the colors that make you feel good. So wear things that make you feel good. That's, even when you go on a date, you should be prepared today to get ready for love.
This one shows the guns.
Oh yeah, look at that. You've been working. Hey, women like muscles, I do. I like
well, it's
having
kind of iconically masculine, I suppose.
Becoming masculine.
I appreciate.
So what do you look for, Clay? What do you look for when you first meet a woman? What is attractive? Do you think that men look for, besides just physical? But what are the physical things that?
Well, all guys have their proclivities. Some guys like an ass. Some guys they really appreciate a woman who's got a beautiful set of lungs. Yeah. And I'm more. This is how guys talk sometimes. Rear ends and lungs. Too. Believe me, when you see the pictures online, women are marketing themselves very clearly to men, and they are very clear on what men are attracted to. Sometimes to a fault. Sometimes I'm a little bit shocked at how these video vixens, are just really coming on the make. They're sticking out their tongue, they're showing their booty, they're just like, I don't know, just it's kind of bringing it down to a base level. And if you're looking for that, I suppose that's fun, but I'm not really. That's repelling to me, frankly, because it's telling me that girl has values that are going to be pretty tough to break through to get to anything resembling a really reliable, loving relationship. So I'm not really into that. But of course, I'm a more mature male, some guy that's 20, 25 years old looking to hook up. That may be right up his alley.
Well, right now, that's the big thing. The younger generation is still out partying. That's been part of the problem. Like once we had a little bit of freedom on these weekends, it's just parties all over the place, and the corona spreading. It's really because the younger people thought they couldn't get it, but this does relate to dating because they date quickly. And now with the corona, it's slowing everyone down. And personally, if I was single, and my cousin's single, I have clients that are single, they're asking me what to do. I said, you can have virtual dates, and then you can take it to the next step where you meet my cousin was doing drive-by parking lot dates, and she's like, thank God I drove by and saw this guy. He did not look anything like his picture. I gave him a wave and I was gone. She was gone, right? Other times, you know, they go meet in the Wawa, like she'll meet him in a grocery store, and then they meet in the grocery store so that there's no stress to like have to move forward if you're not interested. The other thing is being honest. Like I used to tell people, I would like to meet you. Now, this is another thing. If you're online dating and somebody does not contact you after you've been sharing, you know, information back and forth, and then you say, let's do a video call or call me, you know, let's connect, and they don't, it's a warning sign. You know, they could be married, they could just be looking or snooping or cheating. And even though it says all these wonderful things about them, just say, well, why can't I see you via a Zoom or something?
Yeah, I don't even ask anymore. You know, if someone is not willing to do, I think, what is basic protocol in this COVID period, and let me see who they are, as well as ask my questions, and I learn much more about their response by listening to their voice tone and looking in their eyes while they speak. And they to me, it's mutual. So I think it's standard equipment for me before I go spend money or drive across town or something to meet somebody. I'm just not up for doing that anymore. I
don't think anybody should be going out on like dinner dates right away, really, because we're supposed to be, I have been going out, but I go to places where they're outside with friends, or places that have really big spaces, you know, and everyone's wearing masks. But if I was dating now, I would meet people out for a casual iced tea or beer or something, you know, outdoor seating.
Well, I
Or a
don't know
park.
how that's different than a meal. I mean, you still don't know who was at the table right before you. You don't know where the waiter's hands have been as he hands you your glass. You know, there's a certain amount of faith just intrinsic in all of it. Your friend who does the car, you know, parking lot pass is pretty clever, actually.
It is. And then you can bring a little cooler. And if you take it to the next level, you can go to a park or go sit somewhere and have your own stuff. We have friends here in Las Vegas. I'm in my Las Vegas home right now, and we didn't know anyone, and we were dating with our neighbors with our dogs, right? And then we ended up meeting friends through our dogs. Dogs are the best flirting technique ever, by the way. And anyway, Buddy met these people, and we all wanted to see each other again, but nobody wanted to invite anybody, like you don't, as a dater, into your house. So we meet out in the park once a week. Everybody brings their own food, their own napkins, their own booze. And we have a party, and everybody has their own space. It's really cute. We have these little spaces, and everybody's near each other, but we're 6 feet away. And it's great. We don't wear masks because we're outside. But we do it. I do it now. I'm dating my friends, and they come to my pool, and I have a big table, and we all sit apart, and we bring our own food. So I would suggest that. My cousin was doing something kind of cute, though. She's Italian, and she would ask a guy what his favorite dessert. This was after they dated a couple times, and then they would meet. She had a guy that she met 3 times, and then he did something that was kind of a bonehead move, and she lost interest, but she brought him cookies because he had liked certain kind of cookies or something. So she baked him cookies and had it all wrapped and everything. And it was really sweet, but they were having a romance, and then she found out something that he had lied about, and, you know, confronted him about it. And she didn't have to spend too much time, but she had fun. And she said, so I don't get discouraged. I just sometimes she'll meet 3 guys in a day. And it is a riot because I call for the update parking lot date. And she always has something to eat in the car, a little bit of wine or whatever. And they meet and they go and sit on a bench somewhere and talk. And it's turned into kind of fun. She said, I look at it as fun. Other people, clients of mine, I changed their online profile and pictures because they weren't getting results. So it could be your pictures. It could be what you say about yourself. It could be that you are too sexual or whatever. But everybody's in a phase. And as long as you are honest about what you want, it's better to do that. Don't you agree?
I believe there's somebody for everybody, and probably multiple, you know, soulmates that you could align with, provided, you know, we're doing the affirmations from a place like your book, and we're in a completed, you know, satisfied sense of station in life and love phase with ourselves, giving ourselves. I love one of your lines in here where, you know, treat yourself the way you want to be treated by a beloved, a deep lover. And for many people, that's a really revolutionary concept. So occasionally I'll take myself out to my favorite French place, and I'll sit there by myself, and I'll have a glass of red wine, and I'll have a nice crêpe à la nordique, and there's a rose on the table, and I just treat myself to a really nice time with myself. And that's been something I've had to force myself initially to practice a little bit, because you say it's a little uncomfortable sometimes in your own skin when you feel the loss of someone, and you just kind of practice this rather lonesome feeling gesture, but it turns out to be actually quite therapeutic.
I think it is too. I mean, I'm a people person, and I have my husband, but we both work a lot. So I take breaks and walk across the street, and there's a fountain and there's a coffee shop that's outside. So I go over there sometimes, and I'll answer, you know, I'm writing a column or I'm working with a client, but I see people there sitting alone, and I always go, oh, it's nice. You know, are you just getting out of the house? And they go, yeah, that's my line. You know, how are you today? Are you just getting out of the house? Aren't you going a little crazy? So I don't ever pick up people, but I talk to people just like you talked about in our last video too, about flirting and being kind to strangers. And there's a lot of lonely people. And if you talk to 3 strangers every time you're out, over time, you're going to meet somebody. So someone on my flirting class is very shy, and you saw her. She was the real pretty blonde on the flirting class. I thought you were very handsome.
In the lower left, I think.
Yeah, beautiful girl. And she does not know how to send green light signals, right? So I said, when you go to Trader Joe's, I said, I had told a girl to do, you know, if you see somebody, to stand near the proximity and kind of send signals of, you know, smile. And you're not allowed to smile. So now you have the mask, and you have to smile with your eyes, or you have to get in close proximity to say, how are you doing? Or, wow, you eat healthy, or something, right? So she did it, and she got a date. She goes, this is the first date I've had in a year. And I was like, you got to be kidding. She's a stunning woman before COVID, during COVID. And the thing is that she just doesn't know how to do it. She just never learned, you know? So a lot of people don't know how to date, especially if they're
what was her first date like? Did you hear?
Huh?
What was her first date like? Did you hear?
She said it was great. They've been out a few times, you know? And then another woman called, and I redid her profile, and she went out with a man who instantly, she had 150 online dating posts the day after I tweaked her. I put adjectives in. So anybody that's dating right now, look at your profile. Look how you describe yourself, and change the algorithms with words, positive words. I'm sorry. You talk for a second. I'm going to drink something. So what do you say?
Yeah, well, these words are very triggering, I think, too. With somebody who sees your face, they may think you're attractive.
Yeah.
But then women in particular, I think they need to delve a little bit deeper. It's not enough to see that a man's just handsome or successful, whatever that is. But what does he value? You know, is he fun? Does he like to dance? Does he value a sense of humor? You know, does his writing about himself demonstrate that, or that he's full of himself? You know, some people look at me, look at the career that I've had. They may, if they learn my last name, they may try to Google me, and they're like, "Oh, this guy is full." This happened with a lady that she had Googled me and saw my ex-wife and saw that I had been traveling in Europe, and it sort of loaded the gun before I got there, and the whole impression that I was this Hollywood type, and I'm like, hey, I'm just the guy just fell off the bus here. I'm going to the beach. Want to go? You know?
Yeah.
And
People really think that celebrities, you know, have it so easy, but sometimes they have to be really discerning about who they choose. At least the ones